I wish there were more movies where the protagonists lost. I love watching movies, especially with friends. We go out and enjoy new movies and talk about stuff and just overall have a great time, but over the last few years I have been thinking about what movies were the most memorable to me. Potential spoilers ahead, some of the movies I found most memorable are movies like No Country for Old Men, Avengers Infinity War, Seven, Fight Club, Hannibal etc. etc. These movies are all super memorable to me not only because they're good movies but because they break free from the trend of invincible protags that you know are going to win in the end. Now movies where the hero wins are not inherently bad or anything, I just feel like a lot of them lose at least a small bit of their tension because of it. When I watch an action thriller I want to really worry for the heroes, I want to be attached to them and sit at the edge of my seat because I'm not really sure if they will actually make it out alive. I find myself getting invested much more often when uncertainty is part of the movie. I want to worry. I want my heart to race. I want to cry. I want to get mad. I believe that if a movie is capable of making you feel true emotion, it succeeded in what it set out to do. If you cry at the end of a movie you were most certainly invested in the story, and right now I feel like many studios are just too afraid to break the mold in that way. I can understand, I mean money is on the line and lots of it at that. It is definitely a gamble to try to ignore the standard movie structure because many people are so used to it that if a movie doesn't follow that structure, it can feel off or confusing to the viewers, but those movies that do successfully break free of it are often very memorable because of it. TLDR, movies that break the mold and try something unique adds uncertainty to the movie. That uncertainty causes the viewer to become invested in the movie as they never truly know what could happen in the end. If you think the protagonist truly could die or lose, you feel the same emotions they do, and if a movie is able to get you to feel emotion it definitely succeeded in my opinion. I actually agree with you. It makes things more exciting and draws me in more emotionally. Ex Machina. The Mist would like a word with you. To add to the list that shows a protagonist losing, check out American History X, Goodfellas, Scarface, Menace to Society, The First Rocky, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Thelma and Louise, Boys Don't Cry, Saving Private Ryan, Great Gatsby, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Titanic, Pan's Labyrinth, American Beauty, Donnie Darko, The Departed, Casino, Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Wicker Man, Reservoir Dogs, Braveheart, The Room, and Wolf of Wall Street. Surely in Fight Club the protagonist wins. He kills his inner demons and watches the world that created his demons crumble while holding hands with the person he loves. I think some of the best movies have the hero invested in multiple things, and one he/she loses, and the other he/she wins. AKA they win the war but the love interest dies. Or they save the day but sacrifice themselves. This is why I like Breaking Bad so much. Almost no one in that film is the good guy and everybody loses. I've never disliked so many characters yet been so invested in a show before. What's in the box? I agree, but come on, we all knew the Avengers were going to pull a win out of the bag in Endgame. Probably not a brilliant example when you look at the franchise as a whole. American Psycho is one, his murderous rampages excelled to absolutely nothing, nobody cared enough to notice, that's if they ever even existed at all. The Machinist. That movie is one long depressing conga line with a bittersweet ending, and even then there is nothing particularly bittersweet about it, because the protagonist is a very irresponsible man. Watch the Korean movie Oldboy, 2003. Try Shutter Island. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, fuck me if I remember the exact one lol, that last scene just fucks you up. John Carpenter's The Thing, awesome movie. Memento is a good one. Try Upgrade, 2018. It's definitely worth a watch. For me it was Kingsman when Samuel L. Jackson skipped his monologue and just shot the guy. I have been waiting for that for so long in a movie. Spoiler. Arlington Road was my favorite movie where the villain won. All movies don't need to be this way, But yes, I wish they made more. The Place Beyond the Pines. Not a film, but the Pokemon anime really instills this idea that winning isn't everything. A lot of Ash's victories are actually just good deeds, and when he gets to the Pokemon League, he isn't a strong enough trainer to control Charizard and loses. In the quarterfinals, even the guy who beats him is a minor character who gets eliminated in the semis. He falls short, but he sees it as an opportunity to keep learning and growing, and that's a million times better message than if he just won the whole thing. Fallen with Denzel. Bring It On. The competing team won first place even after the protagonists worked very hard to come up with a routine. Edit. Punctuation. The best movies are the ones where the protagonist wins, but at a very heavy cost, that way it feels like it is an earned victory. Othello has entered the chat. Othello is typing. You should see Chronicle. It's pretty good. Uncut Gems. Black Mirror. I don't know if I'd necessarily say Infinity War, since they didn't really lose. Most movies that have multiple parts have the protagonist losing at the end of the first part to keep audiences engaged for part 2. But when you already know they're gonna come back and win in part 2, it takes away from the meaning. At least for me. I agree with Up. I think we should start a list where this is the case for this guy. I'll start. No Country for Old Men. You should watch the anime Death Note. You should watch Inside Llewyn Davis. He doesn't lose or anything, but life just gets progressively shittier for him as the film goes on. The problem with movies now is they all follow that same underdog good guy fights overdog bad guy. Good guy gets beaten a lot, but comes back and wins storyline. There's no originality in the big blockbusters. I'm so tired of it. Which is why I haven't bothered with the Marvel and other big movies in a long time. They're all CGI jerk sessions anyway. The storylines are getting worse, in return for even more fight scenes, explosions, and CGI. I've seen plenty of other movies that actually tell a good story. Not just the same generic garbage we get every year. An example I saw recently was Green Book. What a great feckin' story. No CGI. Just great storytelling. Requiem for a Dream, anyone. A Clockwork Orange and Shutter Island give me the same feeling. This is the reason why Rogue One is the best of the new Star Wars movies. I know that it is not exactly the same, but the fact that it does not include a possibility for a sequel, or a happy ending in style of, and now they lived happily ever after, makes it great. Leon is one of my all-time favorite films, partly because of the heartbreaking ending, and in Taxi Driver I prefer to interpret the ending as Travis' dream, moments before dying. I feel like a lot of foreign films I have watched have had endings where the protagonist lost or nobody really wins. This seems to be more of an American audience problem. Most movies from America follow the cookie-cutter formula where the good guys always wins. Many films from other countries don't have that kind of ending. Even movies made in Britain, for example, that gets exported to America will even have a different ending to not upset the American audience with an unhappy ending. Also, Snowpiercer is another movie in which the protagonists absolutely lose. Oh man. Remember My Girl. Infinity War is my favorite of the Avengers movies because of this. I knew Endgame was coming, but I just enjoyed it at the time. Watchmen, the ending is cool because it's not exactly happy, but it was a cool ending. The movie itself was a little lackluster. Million Dollar Baby is a great one too. Imagine if it's all the Harry Potter movies, we get to the final one. Harry is walking up to Voldemort, ready to die and resurrect so he can end things. Voldemort kills him and then Harry just doesn't resurrect. Turns out he actually needed to have the stone on him at the moment of his death, instead of just dropping it after using it. Talk to his family. Then it's a montage of Voldemort winning the war, taking over the world, and all that shit. Roll credits.